unless you know the seed, right, of what the word is, then we have a difficulty conceiving what it is to speak the frequency of light, because that's what's coming in. These are the two witnesses. That's why they're sackcloth. They're called the great attractors. They will be harmonized with nature. They will be the thunder. They will be the lightning. They will be the rain. They will be the clouds. They will be moving about the earth as a witness, as a testimony. They will be moving about the earth as an army, up and over and through. They will be like Joel, right? They will be in the resonance of the second Adam. They'll be in the resonance of the second Yeshua. They'll be resonance of the Christ-minded. They'll be the fulfillment of the sacred oath in the intention as the promised inheritance. This is who they are.
Add something while you're.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so adding to this, the natural state of being. Natural state of being is self-ordering versus self-destructing. So the natural state of being, negentropy versus entropy, because all of nature is in that negentropy state. And natural law, this is when Yeshua was talking about the law. Only 3 times oreta is used, and it's in the book of Matthew. And this is why he always referred to the Pharisees as their law, the namosa, and he was referring to oreta because it was returning us back to that natural state of being of light, as light's order as having been completed. And Rick, I didn't want to make a comment about the Sabbath keepers. Sabbath, Shabbat is sacred, and then it has a tav on the end of it. And when you actually look at it, it's a compounded word. And in the 10 commandments, it says, remember to keep the Sabbath day holy. What it was saying, really, because of the compounded word with sacred in it, means remember to turn in time back to sacred. That's what it means. So remember to turn in time back to sacred, and that is the fire, negentropy, built on the inside so that you can see the completion of the covenant as done, as completed. We made it about a day, 1 day a week. We made it a religious practice, and it was reminding us to make sure that we turn, make sure that we get back into negentropy.
Again, what is your constitution? What is the naturalization of your state of being? How do you define yourself? What are your constituents? What does your body look like? Because it's a governing house, right? So just that we can connect, so we can take practical into the spiritual concept where we can apply it. So we're filling up this faint imagination like, wait a minute, I'm realized as something. I am an ancient order that's waiting to stand back in the inheritance of the promise.
Amen.
Don't allow to put yourself or have someone else put you in the crosshairs that would diminish that potential. Allow yourself to stand for goodness in the sovereign frequency of that which you truly are. Know that about yourself, right? We're in this place right now where the world is trying to do its best to pull us down to see who are the true sovereigns that would break free of the grasp of the walk of the lesser form to move into the higher dimension. It's all a test. Awaken yourself. I say that in the frequency of the intention and the vibration, what it is to awaken from the strong dream. I say awake, awake for this time, for right now. We're talking a few days until the harvest moon.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to resonate on you, nor myself. There is a starting point. It is very clear with this frequency of what it's showing me, the great attractor, through the language of what Orcus is as the language and the law of light, through the definition of the right and the left hand, the moon and the sun, coming into the conjunction of the twins again, the ancient order of reciprocity restored to the intention, Kadmon. And then the Spirit just said, be realized in what you see and know that you are. There's a difference. I'm sharing from my perspective of what it's showing me, what's coming in, and I'm standing in between my revelation as reflecting, as it's banging around me, seeing my present and my future and my past all in one expression. Very difficult to express that in 1 hour. But in that, I give it as a generous offering to you, that my heart, that you would see a greater potential of who you are in its offering. That you would find your way to what this is as a sound order of sacred. through the generosity of what the word has offered. This is crucial right now. This is very important. And thank you for being attentive. This is starting to weed out. The reason the tree is being shook right now, because you're the branch. As you start to awaken to who you are, you're starting to vibrate on the tree. We don't, all we're doing is releasing where we are as a branch in ourselves. We're over here shaking from over here going like, oh my goodness, I'm starting to awaken to be realized it's the lineage of Adam coming into the restoration of all things. I promise you, I will release, if I can, if it's even necessary, I'll connect it to Micah 6:6 of what Kadmon is as the ancient order of Damascus and how it is directly connected, because it's all coming in to the Kodesh Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies, in time, out of time, through the measure of your blood, so you are healed. Through the planetaries, they are the witness, and they bear witness to the extrapolation of the forensic works of the findings of who we are as a collective, as a sovereign people. Once again, journeying all the way back to the progression of experience, into the generosity of experience, back to the order of the garden, Gan Eden, the ancient order of Dan, Nakashta, the ancient order of one, the Alephim race, the measure of the thousandfold, the inheritors again of the sacred order. I could say it 1,000 ways, 1,000 times. I could come around from the perspective of, I just feel like it's all encompassing right now. And it's just like I can come from any angle and say the exact same thing as going, that's how fast it's speaking right now. But it's here. It's here. And the world is about to see this. It needs this as a cure. The world needs a cure right now. But it doesn't need a shot in the arm. What it needs is the realization of who you are as, right, as the antidote.
Amen.
Amen. Again, I have to trust what is released is what is released. But if I could show you the magic that I'm looking at right now in front of me of the pieces of the puzzle that are woven through just a scrapbook right now, I just like my heart sings for what's coming, and like my heart wants to take everyone in through the expression of how it shows me, because it undoes me, and as quickly as it undoes me, it does me up, right? It just unzips me and zips me continuously in my mornings. And my heart is to share that expression so I can, and again, that's just me, that's just my personal, my flesh self going like, because I want family to gravitate to the potential of what it is. That's my heart cry. And I know it's difficult to connect that way, but I'm going like, if you could look at this verse, look at it, look at the magic right here. This is a one-time occurrence. It would not sing this song unless you could connect to it. And if you connect to it, guess what? You're promised. You're promised 70 times 70. Mm-hmm. That's the promise. Sacred upon sacred upon sacred upon sacred is the ancient order of antiquity. You're fulfilled as the oath, and it means you enter the way of silence. I put this up behind me right here. Shin Kuf Mem Tov. I did not know this entity because, again, I don't look at things. I keep my business where the Spirit has me. This came up in my peripherals. And this ancient entity is called Sekhmet. She's an Egyptian goddess, very ancient old. She's called the Way of Power and the Way of Might. And she is deitized as a lion-faced lioness. And in her story, you can go look it up. It's spelled Sekhmet, M-E-T, sorry. But you would spell it in Hebrew, Shin Kuf Mem Tav. The great attractor is the measure of water, and it comes as the reflection of the twin life and death. There's death, and that's her name in Hebrew. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me. This just came to me about 5 days ago, and I'm looking going like, well, wait a minute. And she's called the great lioness, the great hunter that's in search of her cubs. She's coming in as all the vibration of all of that resonance of all those planets that we saw on the perimeters of the great conjunction. She is the resonance of all of them, and she's coming in as the lioness to collect her cubs.
That's the vibration frequency of the word Ariel.
RDL.
Because that's the lioness of God.
So I went into this expression of who she was. And so just for the people of Crestone, how did I find it? Through Maya. She deposited in my lap that day that I needed it. And I said, I don't really have time. But I told Maya that I would look at some of her stuff to connect where she is, because she's watching our stuff, so we can broaden our imagination. And in that vibration, I was like, you got to be, she doesn't know the language. She was just says the word, and I go like, she doesn't know what she's saying. Her name means power and might. Therefore, it's the great attractor. She is coming in to attract her children, and her way is the ancient order of the lioness. She is life, she is death, and she's called the great healer. This is amazing to me, that this whole vibration right now. And by the way, if you're looking for that, and I thought it was amazing that she named that section of her teaching is called the blood rose. Damascus. She didn't know that. And I'm going like, yep, that's Damascus. It's called the blood rose is Damascus. The ancient city that was in a ruinous heap, and in the way of the ruinous heap, so it arose from the strong dream. Now it is awakened, and it walks in the earth as a witness and a testimony, as the ancient of days. I call it Kadma.
Amen.
Anyways, I just thought that was amazing. That's everything that we've been sharing that connects to it. So I just saw it on my page, and I said, I can't leave that. So that's the great lioness. Beyond the expression of how we think we need to articulate, and we move into the power of silence, because this is what we're moving into, is the realization that nothing needs to be said, because there it is.
Right.
That's what's coming in. It won't be justifying this as a teaching anymore. It will be showing the way of what it is. It'll be a completely different frequency and vibration that of the ancient dragon, because it's all there as a collective right now. Everything there, the serpent, all the characters, all the players, all the archetypes, all the frequency of vibration is all there as a representation. What excites me is it's only 3 or 4 days away. Something is right on the cusp of we. Now again, here's the power of a creative imagination. In the full authority of my awakening, in the full resonance of what I see and that which I say, in the full frequency of the intention of the word and the fulfillment of the voice, I declare it as a thing. I declare it as a decree of sovereign oath, returning as no longer returned, as turned in the fullness, as there is no shadow. I declare the ancient order of Kadmon, the ancient order of what it is to be called a people of Qumran, where there was a rising and a lowering, where there was a commingling of a dimension of timelessness into time. I call forth the ancient expression once again, that it would step foot into the earth and bring the true governance forward of what it is to be called Elohim.
Oh, man.
Similitude, made in the likeness of.
Amen.
Rick?
Amen.
As you were speaking, for some reason, I keep having this image of this Rocky movie, Rocky 4 or whatever one it was. So he's standing there, he's going to fight Drago, the Russian. So I see him now. So the movie's got it sort of backwards. Rocky's represent really the ego. And as he's getting ready to leave, his divine feminine, his wife, is standing on a higher spot up at the top of the stairwell, not wanting him to fight. See, she understands it's not about that kind of warring. But at the bottom of the stairs, he looks up at her, and in a calm way, he says, in order to win, I must be willing to die. As you were speaking today about I see that in our egos, this form of our ego flesh has got to die. This whole message you brought about death is that's what's going to die. And I don't know, I kept seeing that image. For me, it meant something. I just wanted to share it.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, glad you did. Thank you, Rick. That's absolutely it. That I believe I've seen this, and I've tasted this on the fringes of it, and it's quickly a product. It's like knowing that you're going to get your driver's license and you're 14 and you go through that whole thing, and 16 is that's like 25 years away. And then when you get to 15 and 6 months, it's like, oh my goodness, that's still like 15 years away. You can't touch it. But everything of our vibration of where we are right now is like, I was reminded this morning of the hiss of the serpent, and it's called I whistle for my children. but it's the
Mhm.
same word for the hiss.
Mhm.
And that's where it took me this morning. And it showed me that there will be those that will step into into this vibration that are going to feel a tug of war. For those that still have attached to the ego and still haven't rendered clear, it's going to feel like you could feel the resonance of fear on you, because this is a black void and it's equated as death. For some, they're going to step into it, go ta-da, boom. It's just going to be like a boom, that's it. For others, it's going to be, it could potentially be, I'll say it this way, it could potentially be a little bit more arduous in its expression because the ego wants to hold on to the 2D reality. I mean, the separation reality. I call it 2D because it's how basic it is. But in the 3D, the 2D and the 3D. But in that expression, right? So be aware of that. And I'm trying to share this with my son in the same vibration to say, be careful what you're hanging on to. And if for goodness sakes, if you can see it, then allow it to translate through you. Give it the opportunity to translate, to say, I see you, and I'm asking for clarity. Allow it to move, right? Because some are going to feel that you can't move into the translucentness of translation when you're still carrying a material concept.
Mhm.
Letting go is letting go. Death is death. You will not have this form anymore, and we need to be resolved in that. Or at least I do. I need to be resolved in that. And I told my son, when it comes, I'm going. When it presents itself, I'm embracing it. It will be an embrace to myself, in the reflection of a mirror, and I will welcome it for the purpose of the greater good of humanity. Because I know this has to translate to see that there's those that have gone beyond the veil to become the expression of timelessness, that come back into time. That's why I preempted this in that first letter that I read. The comings and the goings, to and fro, those that are able to go in and out of time at the expression of will for the assisting of humanity. That's what's coming.
For those who have done the work.
For those that have done the work.
Yeah.
And there will be firstlings, and there will be those. So again, be kind to yourself, be generous to yourself, allow the expression to be what it is regardless. But I believe we are going to start to see people just moving another dimension, and it's going to be an exciting time.